Hello and welcome. This evening we're going to fly one of the Su-33 Sea Dragon campaign missions. If you go into the campaign folder itself, it's mission number 5. A few weeks ago, someone in the forum was having difficulty with it, and I thought I'd give it a shot. So let's take a look. Okay, Su-33 times 2, so we've got a wingman. We have a full fuel load, and we are loaded to the gills with missiles. So we are taking off at max weight, or pretty close to it. And there are also another 4 Su-33s in the mission, and a 50, good. So we'll have AWACS up. Okay, the month is October and 1834 start time, so it's going to be evening, somewhere around sundown when we take off. And let's see, situation in Georgia, blah, 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 blah. Objective, NATO cannot be allowed to maintain air cover over the AOR and prevent us from conducting our isolation of the AOR. You are tasked to intercept and destroy any NATO fighters in the AOR. Okay, should be easy enough. Let's see, 1 helo, transport, 2 transport, okay, so, and 4 F-16s. And these are the known threats, so the top 3 should be easy enough to distinguish. We've got AWACS up, so hopefully they'll be painted and we can tell they'll be the slow movers compared to us, and also compared to those 4 F-16Cs. Hopefully we're not going to be dealing with them all at the same time. And so we're taking off from the Kuznetsov, and we got waypoints down here on the coast. And knowing our radar and the quality of our missiles, I'm going to try and stay off the coast and hopefully have them come out over the water to me. And there will be less ground clutter that way to kind of gum up the works for me. All right, well, let's get started. And so here we are. Of course, this being DCS, things are really more difficult than they ought to be. We have a full fuel load and max missiles on our wings, so we are close to, if not at, gross takeoff weight. And yet here we are in the front takeoff position, as opposed to farther back, or we'd have some time to actually get up some airspeed before we tried to fly. Now you can do it from here, but it's just that much more difficult. For one thing, the intake shields need to be off, so we're going to hit left Alt I to do that. And then once we are in afterburner, we're going to engage the special afterburner mode, which will kick us into kind of an overdrive with the left shift E. As soon as we leave the ramp, the gear come up, and at that point we will not have enough airspeed to fly. So here's where it gets interesting, because it's all a matter of timing. We'll be turning that little bit of altitude that we have coming off the ramp into airspeed. And so the trick is to have our airspeed reach the point where we start flying before we hit the water. So anyway, here we go. Intake FOD shields off. Parking brake engaged. Full afterburner. Special afterburner mode, gear coming up. And don't pull back too much on the stick. We need to gain airspeed. We're going to have to sink. And we're sinking, and we're good. We've got it. Like I said, that was more difficult than it needed to be. And now we're going to throttle back because I want our wingman to catch up without having to waste too much of his fuel. The last thing I need is for it to be in the middle of something and have him say, hey, I have to go back because I'm out of gas. Let's see, is my wingman back there? I don't see him, but I'm sure he is. Check the HDD, yep, there he is. So he made it off okay as well. And I suppose we should pull in the flaps. Now we can actually pick up some airspeed. Well, it's certainly a beautiful evening to start anyway. It'll be even prettier if we get back. Rather than flying all the way to the first waypoint, I'm going to jump the waypoint with left control plus tilde and select waypoint number 2. And we'll start our turn towards it now. Well, so far no surprises. Now remember at the start of this I said that I wanted to stay off the coast if possible. That's because our radar as well as our radar guided missiles function better in the absence of a lot of ground clutter. And by staying off the coast I can keep that to a minimum. Once we cross the coastline and the closer we get to the hills and the mountains, cities, towns, all that kind of stuff, it starts to raise havoc, and it's much harder to guide a missile all the way to our target. To that end, let's take a glance down at the HDD. Notice this up here. This is the deviation index, also known as the lateral cross-track error. This tells us whether or not we are pointing our nose towards the currently selected waypoint. The triangle is the waypoint, and that vertical line is our nose, in reference to that waypoint. So if that vertical line is to the left of the triangle, we would turn right to head towards the waypoint. If it's to the right of the triangle, we would turn left. And so here our nose is to the left, and as I slowly turn towards the right, the vertical line approaches the apex of the triangle. And here we are. And now I'm going to select the farthest waypoint. This is our turnaround waypoint. And notice the distance reading down on the HSI. Now I'm turning slowly to the right. Notice that vertical line leaving the apex of the triangle as our nose starts to point to the right of the waypoint that was selected. And now let's switch to long-range aerial combat mode. Check the HSI. Distance meter is still counting down, and look at the HDD, and it still reads the same. And now we'll bank left to bring that vertical line in line with the apex of the triangle. And now we're heading directly towards the waypoint. And we are 115 kilometers away and counting down. So even when we're in long-range aerial combat mode, we know where the waypoint is in relationship to our aircraft and how far away we are from it. And for this mission, I have a feeling that'll be important. Like I said, I want to stay off the coast and have them come to us if possible.
And now let's fast forward a bit. We'll cut out the boring part about getting there. Getting close to our assigned altitude of 7,000 meters. The advantage of high altitude is that your missiles have a longer range up here. The downside is that if your enemy isn't at this altitude as well, if we're in a look-down situation, let's say if they're down at 3,000 meters, that puts us actually at a slight disadvantage because our radar has to filter out a lot of background clutter. And that just makes it easier for our target to notch us. But if we stay here out over the water, that seems to be less of an issue. So sometimes altitude is a double-edged sword. High altitude gives your missiles farther range, but at the same time, if your enemy is well below you, it puts your radar at more of a disadvantage.
109. Command.
Here we go.
An enemy flight has been detected. Intercept and destroy it.
Let's tilt our radar down a bit in case they're below us. Nothing there. Tilt up. either. Both contacts ahead of us are flying too slow. Most likely they're transports. Tilt down again. Still nothing on the HUD or the HDD. There we go. Turning towards them. Our wingman sees them too. He didn't even need to tell me. You can see the numeral 2 on the HDD, but I still haven't picked them up on my radar. Ah, there. I think I'll assign the trailing aircraft to my wingman. If he gets into trouble, that might give me a bit more time to come to his aid. Quick check the HDD. Yep, this is the trailer. Assign him to my wingman. Break lock and lock the lead. Yep, that's the one. He's deep enough into our launch zone now that this may not be a wasted shot. We're going to launch an ER. We're going to brake to the right and dive. I want to get down to his flight level or below him. I want to make sure that the antenna position dot doesn't cross beyond the range bar, that vertical range bar. Ah, shit, I just went a bit too far. Radar is no longer tracking. The optical system, though, is backing me up. It's tracking him, so hopefully the radar can pick him up again. Radar's got him again. Launch another ER. Since we lost tracking, I can't count on my first missile hitting him. Driving below him. And of course, if I've had time to put missiles in the air, he's put at least one missile in the air. This has got to be an AIM-120. Let's maneuver to see if we can deplete some of its energy. Maybe it won't be able to keep up with us. And it looks like we got him, although I don't think our second missile had time to get there. I wonder if our first missile actually ended up tracking him and killing him. Well, our wingman's still in it. I think we defeated that missile. Let's see if I can help him. Yeah, I'm not seeing him. At least our wingman sees him. And he got him. Okay, let's circle away and head back out to sea. I want to increase the range between the coast and us again. And call our wingman back and get him back on our off our wing.
109. Command. A second enemy
Yeah,
flight
that
has
didn't
been
take long.
launched. Intercept and destroy it.
Yeah, well, first, before we intercept and destroy, I want to increase the range between us and the coastline again. We're only 30 kilometers off the coast. Yeah, I know they're back there. Let's remind him that I want him to rejoin. And at least he's following me. Both those contacts behind us look to be moving awfully slow to be whatever's chasing us. 42 clicks off. At any rate, we are pulling away from them because we are traveling much faster than they are, so I'm not going to worry about them at the moment. There they are, almost directly behind us, very low and very fast. Let's turn back and face them and see just how far behind us they are. It's getting kind of dark out here. I can't let this devolve into a within visual range fight. Too dark to do that against the AI. They'd own us. And there they are on the left-hand side as we turn. Okay, about 44 kilometers off the coast, but they're still well out of range. So let's turn away and get farther off the coast again. Otherwise, we'd be meeting them over the land, and I don't want to do that. They're pretty easy to pick out back there, aren't they? Traveling as fast as they are. Looks like a transport to the right of them, and probably a helo to the left. Getting darker and darker. Now that's interesting, they're not coming directly towards us. Well, let's start turning back and see what's what. We're about 54 clicks off the coast. Their speed makes them easy to distinguish, doesn't it? And there they are on the HUD. This time I think I'll give the lead to my wingman. Check the HDD. Yep, that's the right one. Give the assignment.
Звену, атакуй мою цель.
Break the lock and
Работаю по воздушной цели.
lock my own. Wrong one. Try again. That's the one. Well, he's certainly launching against him at maximum range. I probably should have waited longer to give the command. That's strange. Why don't I have him locked with the radar? The optical system is primary and the radar is running backup. Well, just for chuckles, let's break the lock and re-lock him. Yeah, I like that picture a lot better. Launch. We are on its way. Well, my wingman's in the thick of it. My target's above me, so I'm in a look-up situation. That's good. I like that. And my wingman made a kill. One down. And I think I got mine. If so, that's 4 down. But let's maneuver and throw out some countermeasures, just in case I'm wrong. Uh-oh, I don't see my wingman back there. And also, there's still no indication that we've been successful in completing the mission. that explains it. There's still one left. Either I counted wrong, or my wingman didn't kill who I thought he killed. Okay, let's get this over with.
109-й, 10-й. Обнаружена цель 072. Удаление 15 на 500. Дистанция не меняется.
Well, he's got a missile in the air and I don't yet. Let's lock him up and return the favor. Damn, lost the lock.
068. Удаление 70 на 500. Дистанция не меняется.
There he is. Locked.
109-й, 10-й. Обнаружена цель 068.
And launch.
Удаление 14.
Wow, he's well above me.
5100.
Definitely don't have to worry about ground clutter anyway. I think I missed him. I think my missile should have reached him by now. Let's put an ET into the air. Boom! Well, scratch that one too. Still not getting acknowledgement that we've successfully completed the mission. Continuing to turn here just in case.
Mission success.
Ah, there we go.
Both enemy fighter groups have been destroyed. RTB to the carrier immediately for a debriefing.
Back to navigation mode. Select return. Face the sunset and head for home. Now I believe if we actually land on the carrier we'll get extra points or something like that, but I am not going to spend the time doing that because I'd like this to be a little bit shorter. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and maybe even can take a thing or two away from it for future missions.
And I'd just like to mention in terms of truth in advertising that I've flown this mission now 4 times. I've been successful 3 times and failed once. Of the 3 successful times, I brought my wingman back home with me 1 time and lost him twice during our encounter with the second group of aircraft. And the 1 time I had lost him in the first round, and foolishly tried to take on the second group on my own. That didn't work out so well. Anyway.
Thank you. You have control.